You know that shot?
Oh, that shot with as soon as he got to Vegas.
Yeah, they love like friggin'
The drone
CGI drone
the
shots.
window, yeah.
Absolutely all over the place. And I'll die on this hill. Drone shots are tacky and shit. And it's very uncinematic. So
Yeah.
You think they're very cinematic because they're moving fast. Fucking drones flying everywhere. Wow, it's going through the building. It's going through arches. It's like, oh, it's above the building, but now it's below the building. But it's actually just trash. So. This time, Elvis.
So before this film,
Yeah.
it's probably a good way to kick off this one.
Yeah.
What would you like? What's your knowledge of fandom of Elvis? Were you a bit of an Elvis fan?
So I've seen documentaries about Elvis, and obviously I've heard music just through the fact that it's, Elvis is always kind of in the consciousness of like music.
Yes,
like, he's never going to go away.
Yeah, everyone knows what Elvis is. Yeah.
So, the prior knowledge for myself of Elvis was really more about his life than about his music, or like about, it was just
the songs that everyone knows.
Yes.
And then he did some movies,
and then more biographical.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I love his music, and I think because of the time, our childhood, during the late 90s and early noughties here in the UK, like a lot of his music got like sampled or had like remixes.
Yeah, we had a conversation.
So, and it was like, I feel like from like 98 until like 2003, like loads of Elvis music got like re-released.
Yeah.
Or maybe even later. But yeah, I'd say, so it was more like I heard like his music and like remixes of his music growing up. And just over time, obviously, more and more. But in the more recent past, I've known more about his life than his music.
Oh, okay.
So it's been his life and like things that have happened to him.
Yeah,
I knew more about that than like, oh, this came out this year, and like, this was part of this album.
So you went into this film sort of like not knowing what you're going to see, but what, like, expecting to know what sort of bits they were going to cover.
Yeah, like so the
key moments.
Yeah, so it was like the not entirely of the film, because I bet a lot of people who knew a lot about Elvis or are big fans of Elvis thought they probably knew what they were getting themselves in for an Elvis biopic. But I don't think they probably expected this particular film.
It's Baz Luhrmann's first biopic, isn't it? Which I think is interesting because he's done. It's almost like it's a weird one because he does films about people, but it's characters so far. So Moulin Rouge is about the Moulin Rouge and that sort of thing like that. Great Gatsby is about Gatsby, but Gatsby is a fictional character. Yeah, but it's almost biographical sense in the way that sort of it's telling a story of this person's life, isn't it?
Has a little bit of a shade of that. I know, obviously, the book of Gatsby is from Nick's point of view, but it's about Gatsby.
Yeah,
I feel like this is very similar because it's like, Captain Tom is basically the narrator. It's basically Nick, and. It's really about Elvis. And it's like, well, Gatsby's really about Gatsby. So
it's the story being told from like a person in their lives' point of view.
It's got a similar it's got a similar tone of second-hand recounting.
Yeah, but this one is an interesting one because it's second-hand accounting, but we're actually seeing the true account.
Yeah, well, as close as Hollywood's going to get a true account. As close as
Hollywood let us, yeah. They let us. It was very... They done that perfect scapegoat of, it wasn't us, it was this guy.
Yeah, it was. And they see, that's one of the things...
and these faceless... produced higher ups you don't really see.
Yeah, you see in a few shots, a few scenes.
They could be anyone.
Yeah,
I kind of picture their faces. They're so generic in their faces and like grey suits. They're all wearing the same suit. They've got the same voice, and they've all that kind of all got that sort of 50s, 60s businessman,
very straight
look about them. Yeah,
skinny tie.
Yeah, exactly.
Typical conservative haircut.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They were just all
very faceless drones.
They all look alike.
Yeah,
those crazy old white men. See with me, I knew the stand. I knew like Hound Dog and Jailhouse Rock and that sort of thing. Those sort of, I knew songs like that, and I do remember as a kid I used to watch the movies with my mum. So I kind of knew Elvis more through his movies.
Yeah.
And I knew he was Elvis even when I was watching the movies. I didn't find out later on he was an artist. I knew he was Elvis, and they were Elvis movies.
Yeah.
But so I probably had more experience with him and his songs through that. But even that was very, very young, so I wouldn't be able to recite the songs off heart.
Yes.
That was really my main experience with him. And then apart from the resurgence of a couple of his songs in the 90s, noughties.
Yes.
But other than that, I didn't know. I didn't know he had a kid.
No.
I didn't know he was married. I assumed he had been in that kind of celebrity style, but I didn't know he had a wife pretty much all the way through, which I found out in this. I assumed maybe he had a few wives.
Elvis being Elvis.
It was just it's just musician, isn't it? Famous musician of the times. They always seem to have a few wives.
Just the casual womanizing.
Just the casual marriage.
Jesus.
But did that. I feel like I knew he was in the military. I think I knew that. But it's not, again, I was watching, I forgot he was in it. But yeah, so this was quite like a nice little, I feel like I've been introduced to Elvis properly.
Yeah.
I think with this, that was my experience with it. Even his music, because since then I've been listening to his music. I tried his music last year and didn't just quite hit. I must have picked the wrong playlist. I don't know why. But this time round, I'm absolutely love it. I've got my favourite song of his now, and that's from this. It's really good, and it's not one I've heard before.
Yeah, I mean, the temptation to make this into like an actual musical must have been hard for them to dial it back.
Yeah, go
and have it just
jukebox,
and just have it where it's where the music is used at just the right times.
Yeah,
rather
especially
than
with Baz Lurman, who does good musicals.
So
an interesting one. So
here's the thing. That statement might make you think that I don't like musicals. Quite the opposite.
But, we do. We love a musical.
But I believe that this film did well to kind of establish itself, its own tone and its own style as a film, rather than banking on being like, it's just an Elvis musical. About his life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which quite easily could have chosen.
Yeah, absolutely, and probably would have been okay. But it was very unique in itself. But again, Baz Luhrmann's his signature is almost that. I don't think any two films of his are the same.
Yeah,
there might be some signature shots or something like that within there, and some of the but you think so? The big ones are Romeo and Juliet, Gatsby, Moulin Rouge. This, and it's another one. It might be that. It might be it. That might be it.
Romeo and Juliet. Did you say that?
I said Romeo and Juliet. But they're all very different movies.
He also directed Australia with Nicole Kidman.
I haven't seen that, but I suppose it's really good, isn't
Australian,
it?
So
is that the one with Jackman and Nicole Kidman?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. One of the most famous Australian film directors. Two of the most famous Australian actors.
Yeah. Is it a musical?
Called Australia. No, it's not a musical. No.
See that he doesn't seem to. He does seem to. He's quite a bit of range as a director, which is and it this was and he's a bit like he reminds me a little bit of the guy who does In Bruges and those. not just there's not a lot of movies come out from that person, that director, but when they do, they're absolutely like golden. I suppose you could say Tarantino as well, who's technically only had 10 movies, or 9 movies, but it's that kind of like they're not like this big director that they're famous at the moment, so we're going to see loads from them. It's very much like Baz Lurman, we know who he is, but he's not actually made anything in like 10 years.
That's he does have a signature style, but it's almost like film meets carnival.
Yes. Oh, he does love that. Yes.
It's like film meets show business.
But psychedelics show business. Like
but he uses the medium of film well. It all feels like not necessarily all of this film, and not necessarily all of his films, but his a little bit of his tell, a little bit of his style is very much like
bit of a trip.
No, I wouldn't even say it is a mix of like a trip and a bit like it's a production.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
a
theatre production.
Yeah.
Like something,
some sort of stage,
something on stage. Loads of fucking bulbs and loads of lights and loads
lighting.
Of,
actually, lighting is probably one of his key.
Loads of
the way he uses lighting.
Loads of pizzazz. I'm going to put that
pizzazz. That's it. That's his signature.
You can feel the Lurman pizzazz.
The Lurman pizzazz
on this. It's got the fingerprints of Lurman everywhere.
It is. Did you say about it?
Especially the first half of the movie, which. I said to you, and I think we both agree. It's like 2 different movies.
Yes.
There's 2 different feelings.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. Where the first one has lots of signature creative cuts, and
it's really quick.
So I feel like
time passes in a short time.
I feel like the first half. Let's say Elvis's rise is very much like Gatsby in terms of its look and its feel, and there's like loads of like stylistic choices. Again, very on brand. And then I feel like the second half is a drama. You know what I mean? Like it's very as far away from the showbiz Lurmanisms.
Yeah, it gets more behind the scenes. We see him performing a little bit less. They put the odd performance in there, and it gets. It's very much. It's like he's done it so that the audience goes on almost the journey that Elvis went on.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the point is to do that, but with the perspective being from
the Colonel.
I think he's a captain.
Well, see, I would say no. He's called the Colonel, isn't he? He might be a captain, but they call him the Colonel. See, I would say it's a weird one. It's very much being told.
I mean, he's not either.
Yeah,
no, yes.
It's being told from the perspective of Tom Hanks. Is his character. Like he's the narrator essentially in telling the story.
Yeah.
But it's like the scenes we're seeing aren't necessarily showing what he's telling us.
Yeah.
It's like we're seeing the real version of his story. So he's trying to tell us the story and how it's like he made Elvis and he was like he was the reason for it. And then we're seeing it and going, okay, so you're the baddie.
Yeah.
It's very obvious from the off. It's like, you're the baddie.
His descriptive of like what happened and what's going on.
Yeah.
Rarely completely match what's happening on screen.
Yeah, it's a little bit like, this is you feel he doesn't feel at any point you don't feel him as a comforting presence.
No,
he's not a comforting presence at all. But brilliant though. Tom Hanks again just knocks it out of the fucking park.
Yeah, love his change of type from always, and I mean always, being the most relatable nice guy in movies, to going to like this year particularly one of the biggest dirtbags on screen.
Yeah.
So bravo,
like
good stuff.
True villain, not just like a movie villain. Like you know that guy. You've seen that guy.
He's not a mustache twirling villain.
No,
because usually in films that have those, it's pretty cut and dry. They're a bad guy, but they don't do like really manipulative, horrible things.
Yeah, this is he's
next level,
horrendous human being. And he's real as well. And, and by the sounds of it,
it was pretty
done most of this.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, it's
a lot for dramatic effect.
From a cynical point of view, there's always that bit in your head that you kind of thinking like, oh, Hollywood kind of palming off a little bit of blame here. You can't help but think it's a little bit
based on a true story. It's well, like you know the bullet points, and you know they work around what happens, and you know one of the I don't know if you've seen it, but one of the best series of the last few years is that HBO Chernobyl series, dramatization. And what they did, obviously I watched the behind the scenes. Obviously they had a documentary about, you know, how close to reality is the drama.
Yeah.
And in that one they had basically certain things that happened just happened to one character, whereas in real life they did happen, but to other people. To not have because mainly we're talking about scientists. In this particular case, instead of having, you know, tens and dozens of scientists, they condensed that into just one character. Played by Jared Harris, and I feel like things like that might have happened here. Where there are a lot more people involved in the life and times of Elvis. But you know, you're not gonna get a cast that's like double, triple the size.
No, it doesn't make sense for storytelling purposes. And it's like a bit like we said with at the beginning with those. They're such faceless people. You might as well make them one character and maybe give them a face. But it's that bit. There's a few bits in it where they put. I think at first as well. We're saying it's a movie of two halves. The first bit, you don't see the powers that be. You just keep hearing about them. They're like, it's the classic story of like everyone likes that. Great, we're going to buy that and sell that, and as soon as it gets popular, we don't like it, so we're going to change it into what we want to turn it into.
Yes, 100%.
Like, but you won't make literally a bit like what the rant we've gone a little bit like, not the same as what Disney's doing and stuff, but a bit where like, but you're just leaving money on the table. Just let him carry on doing what he's doing. Everyone loves it. No, we don't like it. It goes against what we like. So now that we own it, we're going to actually make it our thing. Like, okay, well, it's not going to do well. And it's that story at first, isn't it? But we don't see them. It's not till the second half, around the Christmas bit, where we see them. They're like, some of them come in for that Christmas special where it's just like...
producers and sponsors. And,
that's it,
you know, that's what it's like everywhere. But that's where it came from. You know, corporate America rising up in the...
Probably around that time, maybe.
In the
maybe a bit before.
40s, 50s, 60s. You know, the rise of like big money, basically. But it's a really good movie, and the more I think about it, the more I want to revisit it, because I'm sure there's things I missed. It's quite. It didn't feel too long, but because it does have two distinct parts. I was like, oh, we were in there for a little while, but it did not drag one bit.
No, it didn't drag. It's heavy. It's a heavy watch.
I
say, especially towards the end, it gets a bit...
it's
over...
not
all glitz and glam. It tells a very real story.
Just under 2.5 hours. So.
I think it was that in the end.
But I wouldn't have said it would even have felt that long. I just thought that like we've been through... we've been through a lot.
It's one of those ones where there's almost like... You notice how long it is, not because it feels it, because you're like, oh, it must be coming towards the end now, and it doesn't. And then something else happens. You're like, oh, great, there's a whole new bit. A bit like we said the same with Maverick. Maverick were a bit like, oh, okay, this is going to end now, and then it doesn't.
No,
it's not necessarily a bad mark, but you're like, you're aware how much you've sat through and how much has been covered. And they cover a lot. 2.5 hours, that's really good as well. They cover a lot really well, and none of it feels rushed. You explore every part as much as you need to explore it.
They really go from when he's, about 17, 18 maybe?
I think
until he dies.
Until he dies, right up to right up to he dies.
So,
which is a long period of time in time-wise.
Yeah, and for that not to feel rushed is probably a good... it's just like, is a good thing, because, you could... jump all over the place time-wise, and it feel very disjointed. The only thing that was disorientating was the amount of drone shots, and that shot.
Oh, that shot with as soon as he got to Vegas.
Yeah, they love like friggin' CGI drone shots.
The drone shot in and out of the window.
Well, Harry and I just watched The Grey Man on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
and that was one of the worst uses, because it was just every establishing shot was a drone shot.
Oh, okay.
Trying to travel at like 60 miles an hour.
Okay.
Really just absolutely all over the place. And I'll die on this hill. Drone shots are tacky and shit. And it's very uncinematic. So
yeah,
you think they're very cinematic because they're moving fast. Fucking drones flying everywhere. Wow, it's going through the building. It's going through arches. It's like, oh, it's above the building, but now it's below the building. But it's actually just trash. So, and this didn't have tacky drone shots like The Grey Man.
No.
I'm just saying it used instead they used CGI to do them, where it's like it would like be in a close up of like the window of the hotel that he was staying at. I think it was the International.
Yeah.
And then it would like zoom out, spin round, show the changing of the board where it had like the Elvis playing tonight, XYZ, and then it would like zoom round again, do a 360, and then go back to the original shot.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, fuck, that's just
it did like
that's
4
just
times
shit.
as well in the space of about 20 minutes.
And that's when it became worse, is because they did it again and again. At one time, I'm just like, well, that's just probably a bad choice, but I mean, it's stylistic. Like, I can see what you're going for, but especially. With this, where it's all glitz and glamour, it's all because it was. And and then they just did it like 3 or 4 times. I feel like they did it twice in like a very really short period of time.
Short period, like
so much so that we like looked at each other
scene.
like, why did they reuse that shot? Like that weird. Shot of any shot.
It was so weird. It could have been a cut as well. Yeah. It was really weird.
But honestly, noticeable things that I'm saying like, oh, I didn't really like that. There isn't a lot more. There isn't really a lot more. It's hard to. Again, I'd probably have to have another rewatch, but in terms of like things that stand out straight away, in terms of the negative pile, I think that's it.
That's probably it.
Like
that shot.
One bit of paper,
one little shot, and even this is only technically because of the way they did it in the space of like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I can get why they kind of do it the once. They did overdo it. They'll do it because it is. I think they are almost trying
to. It's a flashy shot.
I think they're trying to disorientate you as well, because the whole thing. It's very much the way it's been shot and told is sort of trying to put on you kind of what Elvis and his surrounding lot are going through.
Yes,
it's kind of like that. It's very
the
much
whirlwind.
It's very much like, oh, we're here now, and it is very much you're like, fuck, how much time's passed?
Yeah.
But in a way that they must be going, fuck, how much time's passed? Like they breeze over the whole Hollywood phase, don't they, kind of thing? But really,
a little bit.
They have
a few scenes. They have a scene when he kind of gets into it, and then they have a montage of like all of his like really successful stuff in like is it late 50s, early 60s?
They do montages quite well as well in this. Well. Yeah, they just and over the space of the song of the opening to Viva Las Vegas, they do a montage. Brilliant open, and he's just walking down a bus, isn't he? And the time's passing and stuff. It's brilliant. But what's really good, I've noticed as well from listening back to some of the songs in it, because I've got Elvis in my playlist as well, but I've also got Austin. Is it Austin Butler?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. In there as well, because he's such a fucking. He does some brilliant takes on it.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize as well either when you listen to his voice, his speaking and singing voice at the beginning.
Yeah.
It changes as the film goes on.
Oh, really?
His voice gets deeper as he gets older. He starts talking deeper with it and stuff. Only very subtly, but it's there. And the singing voice is very much a teenager's singing voice of what it was. And then as obviously you get older, because a singer's voice changes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it becomes the more deeper, that sort of thing. Yeah. And so he even does the range of the singing really well. He was a brilliant choice, absolutely brilliant choice. The mannerisms are spot on.
But we said this in the Top Gun podcast, I think, but this is obviously still true. But originally it was supposed to be Miles Teller.
Oh, yeah.
Rooster. I was going to call him Goose.
I don't know.
And then Austin Butler was supposed to be Rooster.
Yeah. Oh, it's a full swap.
It was a full swap.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't intentional. It was just it was either scheduling or just didn't fit right. Just didn't fit right. So they were just like, we're going to do a change here with one of the actors early in pre-production.
Yeah, they made the right choice here.
They made 100% the right choice.
I don't know. I don't know enough about Miles Teller, but
I mean, there's a universe out there where I want to see the other cuts.
Yeah. But there's a universe out there where I want to see Will Smith's Matrix. Like, we want to see it. We don't know if it's going to be better.
It's just there. We know the multiverse is just there. We just can't get there. Anyway, I mean, his casting was
Keanu Reeves is Men in Black.
Yeah. Well, him with Tommy Lee Jones would have just been the most monotone.
I know. I don't know how that works.
It would not have been popular. It would have done all right, but we wouldn't have got a second or third. But anyway, that might have been a good thing. Yeah. But the casting choice was, was fantastic. Inspired choice for the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone that filtered out from it, it was just everyone in it seems. Even there was people in it that were only in because obviously different parts of their story and stuff that were just brilliant in that short period. The guy who was playing the guy he was opening for and stuff, he was really good. That's an English guy, isn't he?
What part are we talking about?
At the very beginning.
Right. Oh yes.
What's his name?
He basically got too big for his boots, and everyone just didn't like his singing after a while.
Yeah, he got boring. He was boring and old, and he wasn't hip thrusting.
That's true. Yeah, it was all very like we said, it was all very 1940s, 50s, conservative music.
That popular kind of country, and then Elvis brought in. He was basically I like that they've not. I suppose there's no way they were getting around it and stuff, but it's very much gives the impression that he wrote some of these songs. He absolutely did do some of his songs, but a lot of his early stuff, or a lot of his stuff, was his own take on songs that were already existed. They were just in the black community, and no one was listening to them. He was listening to them. They were absolutely fantastic, and it was kind of but it was very much. And I don't know if this is. I don't know the truth. If it came out, the reality is Elvis stole these songs from the guys, the people, the black singers of the time, and completely ripped them off. They'll be like, of course he did. Fuck's sake. This story is very much told in the way it's he's hearing it, thinks it's amazing. Why is no one listening to this? I'm gonna sing it.
Yeah.
And present it, and he had the following from them as well, and they're all listening to his music, and I really like that. I really hope it's that. But I also, again, the cynical part of my brain is it that?
It's Hollywood sugarcoating the fact that he ripped off songs.
Yeah, did he rip them off, or was he homaging them?
Yeah.
Was he really just trying to bring into light that? And he did. His music did bring that genre to limelight, and it is very much rock and roll started in Memphis. That's the saying, isn't it? That's mad. I didn't know. I learned from this movie. He never left America.
Yeah.
Ever. Not even on a holiday.
That was one of the...
Oh, no, sorry. The only time he left America was for the war.
Oh, well, no, he was just doing... He was in the army. There wasn't a war on at the time.
Oh, okay. But he went to Germany,
for service,
didn't he? Yeah, he went for... During service, he left the country. Yeah. That's the only time he left the country.
Yeah. That was one of the things that I did know. I think because it just has come up in quizzes before.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But...
Never performed over here. That's bizarre.
For such a huge following.
And the people that were around at the time that he would have probably you would have thought he'd just collabed with, but no, that's absolutely bizarre. So weird.
Just shows you what one toxic person can do.
Yeah.
For someone with a lot of talent.
Yeah, he just somehow
can make it so they're leaving so much money on the table. Once again, that is one thing. It's we could have so much good stuff, but the actions of so few people mean that the potential turns to nothing, or the potential is wasted.
But the bizarre thing around that whole thing, and we've talked about it in Marvel, is they do these things because they want to make money, and they think that's how you make the money. And by doing these things, they lose money. Fair enough, they don't lose money in the sense of they lose money taken from them. They just lose out on money. Like you said, it's literally leaving money on the best analogy, money on the table. It's literally they could make so much more, but because they choose to do this shortcut, or they do this, they want to do this, or they've just their vision just is wrong. It's just a bit rubbish. They end up leaving it on the table, and in this film is kind of almost a representation of that. He got millions just from coming to UK once or something.
I don't even think it was obvious. Obviously, Elvis would have made a lot of money too, but the person who's the most money hungry, the Colonel. He's leaving money on the table, but we know it's because he doesn't have a passport.
He can't.
And he would have just
go with him.
Yeah,
essentially. And it seems to be that fear that if he goes without him, he'll work it out.
His people who have been trying to help,
more
so, will get more of an influence.
And the movie shows points in their life where they get through, like the bit where it gets to the Christmas special thing, which is brilliant. It's such a good thing. It's around the time, isn't it? That's when does Martin? No, it's when he's in Hollywood. They do Malcolm X get shot. No, Martin Luther King gets shot, and when he's doing the Christmas special. During that, before that,
Bobby Kennedy.
Before that, I think it's the Martin Luther King thing is the thing that spurts him into wanting to sort of get political, and he contacts those producers, doesn't he?
Yes, yeah.
And then he's doing the special, and they're kind of like going off book, and they're like reinventing Elvis and bringing him back to like his other way, and he comes on and does that brilliant bit in the little stage and stuff where he's in the classic, or not you say classic, but the famous kind of black leather and not wearing the Christmas jumper.
Yeah.
And then they come in the next day to finish off the special, and between those times,
they've written
Kennedy Jr. has been shot.
No, it's Robert Kennedy, JFK's brother.
Oh, sorry. Brother. Oh, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was his son.
No.
I'm terrible with American politics.
But yeah, it's
so he's been shot, and then he writes that song, and it's "If a Man Can Dream." So I think a brilliant song. That was that whole little bit was really good. But it's that little period is kind of showing that if that guy had the fear anyway, it is showing that there are people around him that will talk him into things, into the right things as well. And he's so he doesn't want to send him internationally, and he just keeps tempting him back. It's very much the guy's fault, but it's also Elvis's for getting drawn in. Every time he gets drawn in, every time. And the international thing at that point in the movie where he gives him the international offer, you're like, come on. How many times
and also when it's like when the initial offer is like a whole year, and you're like, it's not going to be a year though, is it? Because what they've offered Colonel Parker is pretty much free roam of the casino. That's probably the worst thing you can do to someone who already has gambling debts.
Has a gambling debt and has a gambling problem. You can gamble without consequence. It's like, it's
fucking crazy, isn't
just break his legs.
You're the mob. Break his legs.
Just break his legs.
I learnt very recently that actually the Strip, or what you consider the Strip in Las Vegas, is actually called Paradise, not Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
And Las Vegas is the city, but like I think it's over a square mile or maybe even shorter.
Oh, okay.
That place.
So there's more to Vegas than just the Strip.
Yes, surprisingly so.
I didn't know that. I literally thought Vegas was a casino strip. I obviously thought it wasn't a straight line, but it was essentially a casino strip you just drive through, and that's Las Vegas.
I mean, there is more to it now, and there was even then there was a little bit more. Even
I knew people lived there and stuff like that. And I've seen CSI. I know there's sort of a city there, but I still just all imagined it was a big strip, like a huge city strip.
Paradise is the town.
Okay.
Which is it all gets a bit like complicated, but with all like American laws and shit like that. But it's like because it has its own, it polices itself. The security of each hotel resort. The security is basically the police.
Right. Okay.
So like it's not really Las Vegas police who police the Strip.
Okay.
Or the Strip. But Paradise is just. If you look at the map, it's just like, it's all of the bit where they make money. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the entirety of where the money goes. Like,
and they called it Paradise.
And Las Vegas, So
that's the one where there's no clocks and it's always light.
Well, so that's that's not like law. That's just like
oxygen.
They 100%. Yeah, they do that. But what I'm saying is like people who are like, I'm going to Las Vegas. Like I went to Vegas like 10 years ago or something.
Oh shit, was it 10 years ago?
And it's like I never went to Las Vegas.
No,
I landed in the airport, McCarran Airport, I think. And I stayed in Paradise. I didn't go to Las Vegas, and, because you drive such a short distance and you're there.
Even the Americans call it Vegas, don't they?
I know. It's just you'll be weird if you were like, "Welcome to the town of Paradise," when Las Vegas has like the grandeur, like the name Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Whereas it's just like you're going to paradise. They'd be like, "What? You're taking me to like some seedy motel?" And it's no, it's just called paradise. Like it's just something that I learned recently. I was like, so basically, last time I went to, when I went to Las Vegas, I didn't go to Las Vegas, I didn't stay in Las Vegas.
Did you see the International? Do you remember seeing it?
I don't know if it's there anymore.
It's still a big hotel.
I'm not up to date with my Vegas history.
Does it have much history?
The Vegas history. I feel like
the Vegas history is measured by who's playing there.
Yeah. Well,
so at the moment, it's Celine Dion. Like in that time, it was.
I feel like
Cher was. There was a period of Cher at one point. I think Elton John was there at one point, wasn't he?
I feel like the International, the other resorts and casinos have left the International behind.
Okay.
Is it so?
Once they lost Elvis, that was pretty much it. That was their biggest. That was their biggest grab.
Over time. Well, say the International was at the time like one of the bigger casinos in Las Vegas. Like now, because of the resorts that get built, they're like much bigger and better.
Yeah,
it leaves it behind, and I didn't really leave the vicinity of the main strip. So we went staying at Caesars, and then you just walk to Bellagio, MGM, New York, and stuff. And I think the International. I think it's changed. I think it's changed now. I don't think it's called that anymore.
Oh, okay.
I think it might be called like Westgate or something, and it's not on the actual what you perceive as like
the Vegas Strip.
The Vegas Strip. So
the weirdest thing about it is it's the pitch in it as well, and obviously they simplify it. It was probably actually a bigger conversation and over time, but in this movie, it's sort of like why would you go? Like he's like, I want to get on a plane and I want to fly and that's what I want to do. And he's like, but why would you do that when you can just stay in this place that's called the International and it's like you're going around the world? And I'm like, no,
it's hard. It's difficult to watch because you're like, with your southern accent intact and all. That is exactly how it went basically. And he's like, I want to go here and I want to go to Japan and Europe and I want to go here and there. And then basically one guy, who's been his like blood-sucking manager goes, why not be a prisoner in this hotel? And you're just like,
that's exactly the same.
Yeah,
no, it's not.
It's really hard
at all.
It is hard because that's basically the option he gives. And Elvis is,
just eats it up.
I think, that's kind of simplified it a little bit, but with the offer, it was like 1 year, and you've got like basically like unlimited budget. You can do whatever you can, whatever you want musically, which no artist would be given that much freedom except for Elvis. In such like a big place and like to so many people and such a big cut. And do you know what I mean?
And the scenes that follow it, you can see he's into it.
Yeah.
Like he is like, I want this and I want this. And all the things that he's been told he can't have. And like, we don't do that in the production. You don't do that for songs and stuff. He's like, I want this. And he gets like an orchestra and it really makes a show of it.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's a weird scene. It's weird to watch those following scenes because it's some brilliant Elvis.
Yeah.
And you proper see him in his element.
Yeah.
But behind it is this seedy, like this guy who's just keeping him there.
Yeah, just
as
so
well. It's a prison.
Yeah.
But you're like, he doesn't realise it's a prison yet.
Yeah.
But also, this is him watching him. I love that scene where he's saying, I want an orchestra, and he's having them come out and he's getting them all playing together.
Yeah.
Brilliant scene. Just to see some like, this what the guy was like, a great representation of what the guy was probably like. And music literally like, this guy just gets music. He's got all these different types of music. He's throwing them together and it works. This guy just understands music. Really nice in that.
Yeah.
But then it's also, but you're in prison, mate.
There's a lot of stuff that's, that watching those scenes is a lot. Because
I think the whole film is that, really, isn't it?
I feel like loads of stuff is like that.
From the off, just the way they show you from the off. There is no point of this film where you are shown that guy to be a good guy. It's from the off. He overhears, he eavesdrops on the conversation him and his family are having to pep Elvis up before he goes on for that first performance. You haven't seen his face at this point.
Yeah.
It's just you just see him all in a thing, and it's about family, and then later on uses those words to book him and convince him, and you're like, this guy's a bad guy.
But I feel like the scenes in which you're talking about, where it's, you know, behind the scenes, there's always someone who needs to make money. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
You know, you know, we might be looking at that scene and thinking that particular way, but there's that going on for producers behind the scenes here. Not a scumbaggery. Not, or it might, because I mean it's Hollywood, isn't it? So.
Iggy Pop, he got screwed, didn't he?
Did
famously, yeah, he literally was left broke. That's why he done those adverts all those years ago, because he was broke because his manager rinsed him for everything he was worth. It's what you did. It was mad. The amount of time you find out these huge stars. More back then, I think it is less now. I think stars have learned their lessons and stuff like that. But more back then, it would still happen now because there'll be someone who's so desperate for fame that they will sign that contract. It happens with comedians. Have you heard Jim Jeffries? Jim Jeffries is like he might.
Didn't his brother steal money from him?
It's not. I wasn't going to say that. Maybe no. Jim Jeffries is. He wrote. So when he was first starting, he got signed by this company.
Yeah.
And then was suddenly offered gigs, and his company was like, "No, you can't. You work for us. You can't." So he went and did it.
Yeah.
They sued him, and now he is in debt. For this company that owned him originally, because he went and done these gigs because he wasn't allowed to, and it's like he's never, no matter how famous he gets or be like that, he's always going to be okay. He's never going to be rich. And it's similar with back then. It was a lot of stars and so things like that happened.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like that, you know, art at that level, is only made for money. It's not done for the love of the art.
No,
it's done because you can make. There is
someone making a lot of money. Yeah. The artist might be really involved in the art, and they've suddenly been given this freedom that no artist will be given.
Yeah.
I get that, but the form, the art is for money. It's money. Once you reach a certain point, it's not even. I don't want to be like this guy. There's like as soon as a band gets famous, they're selling out.
Yeah,
no. But you will lose your voice a little bit or your sound a little bit because now you're kind of being steered on what to do.
Yeah.
And being told what to do, or someone is making money off of you, so they are now going to have a little bit of a
too much invested interest.
Yeah, to let you just do what you want and take chances, and they'll talk you into it as well. Because it must be, as an artist, if you've been doing number ones, and then suddenly you hit a number 5, which in reality should happen. By probability that you can't every song you write be a number 1.
Yeah, of course.
Insane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You just not every painting.
I mean, there's usually only one. You know, with even bands that are really successful.
Yeah.
Or artists that are really successful, when they release singles from their album.
Yeah.
You know, even the height of popularity for some acts, it's like. Yeah, I released 3-4 songs from the album. One got to number 1.
Yeah,
and the rest, 2
and it'd be a great album. You listen to the album and you like every song on the album.
Yeah, of course.
But it's not a number 1 or anything like that. As soon as they start to hit those number 1s, they'll be like, "Oh crap, what did we do wrong this time?" And instead of the people that were behind them stuff that going, "No, it's fine. Of course, how you do it every time." It's like we're going to try this. We're going to try this because you didn't do this, and they get in their head. It's like. It's disgusting. Art has been very much taken over. It's still there
since the invention of the radio. Really.
It might happen to us one day. This might take off. We might get to our 1 million viewers. See, you'll know when the corporations get involved, guys.
See, I've taken some advice on board and just to never sell, because it's for us it's a hobby.
Yeah,
we don't get paid.
No.
Yet.
It'd be nice if we did.
Yeah, but that's not really the goal.
We have exactly. Yeah.
It's just we just like doing it.
I do like the idea though, suddenly cuts 10 years, and we've taken some of that, and we're just we don't talk, none of us talk.
No,
we're all just, you can just all just imagine really you in a jacket made of money.
Nice.
And then just glasses that you can't see, gold glasses you can't see through.
Yep.
Harry's got gold
he's got grills.
He's got grills. Yeah. Harry would definitely get grills. and just rings everywhere.
Yeah, we don't talk. We don't look at each other.
Yeah,
we really just have one-way conversations,
and we're just reading scripts.
15 minutes apart.
We just turn up and do a different part of it. It's all recorded separately.
In fact, it becomes like 5 minutes worth of reviewing movies.
Yeah,
and the rest is, you know, when podcasts read their advertisements off a script.
Yeah,
I've been watching the Always Sunny podcast on YouTube.
Yeah.
And obviously, like a third or like 2/3 through, they have like ad break, quote unquote, and it's just the pre-recording of them, and they've just got the scripts there, and they're just like reading off of it. And you know, it is just like so. It's like it's just an exchange of information. It's just like ones and zeros. Got to pay the bills. Yeah.
But this is some of our favorite, like the pitch meeting one. Oh no, he doesn't do it.
But yeah, it's just like that's what it is. It's just 15-20 minutes of reading ads.
And just like reading off of a script. None of us have invested anymore. Over the years, different catchphrases and tropes we do there. We just sort of like phone those in.
Yep, phone them in. Yeah, 100%. Low effort.
So you'll know when we sell out, guys.
And then just like 3.5 minutes talking about Forrest Gump, and then just reading
ads.
It's
a great movie.
So it's really good. Yeah, you know,
you'll know when we sold out because 10 years down
Robert
the line,
Zemeckis,
someone will pay us to say how great the Eternals is.
Yes, that is.
If you ever hear us say that,
it'll be on like a review of the MCU.
Yeah.
And
it's going back 20 years.
Yeah.
10 years.
God, I hope it doesn't last that long. God, I really do. I'd love to move into a new era of cinema where the MCU doesn't exist, but still be doing the podcast.
What is going to be next after superheroes? That'd be a cool episode to do. Actually,
I don't know.
We predict what's going to come.
Oh
next.
No, yeah, Two Reels predicts the future.
We keep doing it. Maybe we could use our manifest powers for good.
Maybe, yeah.
And we can control what happens for once. Rather than all these awful offshoots.
Maybe we need to keep the good things in until that episode.
And then we just say, this is what's going to happen. This is next. I reckon pirates will get a resurgence.
No.
Pirate movies. I want Adventureland movies. That's what I want. Adventure Island movies resurgence. But yeah, so Elvis. But yeah, no, it's one of those ones. It's not a true story, but there are beats. There are true beats it had to hit. Because obviously there are documentaries. There is. They show us at the end, which is a brilliant transition into showing the clips in reality. And I think there's actually I haven't watched it yet. There's a YouTube video of showing Austin Butler next to clips of Elvis performing, and it's a mirror. It's like
is it? Nice.
You know the bit where he's on stage doing the where he's singing "Caught in a Trap," I think it is, or he's doing. What's the other one he does when he's on stage? When he's in the white, basically. It's like Elvis and Austin Butler, and it's almost choreographed exactly the same way, and he hits the same beats, and it's made to look the same. So there is a Baz Lurman has done his research when he does this. He's very much done his research. He's not just like, let's make an Elvis song and.
Well, they've been trying to make the film since 2014.
What Baz Lurman has?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So. I feel like they had...
He probably already had an interest.
I believe Austin Butler trained for the movie for 2 years.
Okay.
So
that makes sense because it's...
Spot on.
The voice is spot on. Let's say when it does that transition, it looks like it's... You're like, shit. I don't know if it's just the way... You know, like sometimes an actor could do the mannerisms so well that they look like the actor. I don't the original thing. I don't know if it was that or he does look a little bit like him, but it was spot on.
Spot on. From being young to being older.
Yeah.
They didn't quite go full fat suit Elvis.
He does at the end.
Do they? I didn't really notice.
That last shot where he's sitting down, that seems to be... I think that's the thing as well. I think we think Fat Elvis was longer than it was.
Yeah, probably.
It seems to... From this... If this is right...
He's saying fat... I'm just like... He just put
It was like there was thin Elvis and then there was fat Elvis.
He was going through some things, man.
But it does seem like it was only really the last couple of years based off of this. Because there's that shot where he's at the end of this where he's in the car... And his wife comes in and speaks to him. I love their relationship. That's really done really well.
Really good.
It's not even like when she leaves, it's done in it's not just he became a monster, he became the rock, the best of him. It's like, no, it's like there's other things going on.
They were able to layer it so that it wasn't so sudden, like, oh, he's just become a douchebag. Like, it's loads of things that have. Actually, I won't say that. I won't say, loads of things that comes out about people. I'm more just like, it would have been easy for them to go very one-dimensional.
Yeah,
like,
and it was a real relationship.
It was
very good. There was little bits, and they'd done the build to it. But a bit in the way he's in the car, he doesn't actually look like fat Elvis there. He just looks a bit withered and worn.
Yeah.
And I think that was the idea. That was about 5 years, and then they cut to the end.
They do.
And he is in a bit of a fat suit and stuff there.
Yeah.
And that's
I had to resist just like Googling, when did Elvis become fat? It's just like, that's an odd question that I didn't think I was going to type into Google today, but
when did Elvis get fat?
When did Elvis get fat?
I think it was a later thing. The whole, it doesn't sound like he died. The whole thing, like he died on the toilet thing as well. I don't know if they just danced around it or.
Look, well, before the internet, urban legends, once they were spread, they were permanent.
That's true.
There was no debunking that. Too many people have been misinformed, and it was just like, well, that's just what happened. Now,
yeah.
So
that's one of the QI questions that Stephen Fry corrects.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But So it's got this. It's a biopic, but it's also with semi true story aspect to it. So like there's true beats to it, but it's also very much like a dramatization kind of thing. With also, it's just touching musical. It's not a musical.
Yes.
But it is obviously about an artist, and you do see some of the performances.
It's about
There's a few full performances in it, which is good. I was when I'm going into this, I was like, I hope they don't do the thing where they show us a bit of that really good song. Yeah. Some of them I want to see the full song.
Yeah.
And they do. I think about 3, maybe even 4. You see all of Trouble. You see all of Suspicious Minds, I think, when he's been in international for a while. Yes. Even though it's cut in between him singing and the Colonel having the conversation with the casino owner.
Yes.
Making the deal.
The grubby deal.
I think it's after the deal. They're just talking up, wasn't it? But there's a few of those bits. But then, and where's the other one you see the full of? Oh, you see the full of It's All Right Mama, the first bit. So they do another where they just show up, and then the others are just sort of dotted around. Doing quite well. A man. Actually, there's probably quite a few full numbers in this.
I think most of them are.
They do.
That's
which
good.
is interesting. They don't normally do that. They normally just give you a taster.
Definitely with copyrighted music. I know, obviously, it's a film about Elvis, so you have to get the rights to Elvis's back catalogue.
Yeah.
But even when they are using copyrighted music, sometimes for a cheaper price, you can just be like, I'm going to play 90 seconds to 120 seconds of 340 seconds.
So, with this they do this full thing. They went all hog. I feel like the Elvis estate must have been.
I mean, they didn't cut corners anywhere. I'm not. That was definitely one of the things I did notice, is just like how full on it is. There is absolutely no
scenes full of song. They don't normally do.
And the budget for this film was quite modest. It was 85 million.
Oh wow!
And think about
they used it well.
And think about how many films you've seen that are like double or triple or quadruple the cost and are
garbage. Garbage.
Yeah.
Like, again, another thing, I think that Baz Lurman is. I think it's the lighting. It's like it creates the effects in itself. The way he uses the lighting, and the way he shoots it.
The photography is just like.
So he doesn't have the edit. He doesn't. The editing is very practical, so probably saves money on that. I don't know. Do you know? I don't know because there was.
I don't even think that because I feel like there's more effects in this than you'd think.
Yeah.
But they're obviously like very subtle.
Yeah.
So I don't really have too many examples, but that a Hollywood movie like this, there's always effects. Like, doesn't really matter what it is. It might even just be like just editing out like something in a scene or enhancing a scene slightly. This is there's no like visible CGI in this or anything.
No, well, there's a bit. You think
some of the shots
bit in the carnival, the bit where before we've seen who he is, and then it shows it later on as well. Where they're at the carnival, and it's like just Elvis like surrounded by black, and like him coming up to him. That's a bit. So there's some effects. There is some.
It's there just to enhance because obviously. It's just for the
storytelling. Yeah, it's absolutely.
For them to have had a movie that's stylistically shot, very uniquely edited,
editized.
It's got unique editing.
Yeah.
It's surprising that they did it for such a low budget.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rarely is a Hollywood movie that is this has this much like marketing and like such a big release. It like is very rare for it to be less than $100 million.
Especially it's the subject matter. Is literally one of the most famous musicians, if not the most famous musician of all time.
If you think about it, the pitch for the film that we did get was probably like Baz Luhrmann's directing. It's a biopic about Elvis, like it's big budget. It would have been easy for them to have just
Tom Hanks is our support.
Tom Hanks is in it. Like it would have been easy for them to just be like, I need $150 million. Like no less. To complete this film. That's 2.5 hours long. And studios I think would have done it. So more credit to them. I'm not being like, oh well, there's no Oscar for penny pinching, but it's quite an achievement in just this little category of like movies are expensive. It's just surprising, and it just means that like I feel like that's just a testament to like, oh, everyone must have done like such a tight job, just such a good job.
It's a nice little. It wasn't. You don't have to. It's not about how much money you spend on a film,
and it's not.
Quality goes into it.
It's not visibly overblown, and you're like, this is exhausting to watch. It's just too much pizzazz, not enough substance.
Yeah, because even though, ironically, because there is so much pizzazz, and even that first part of the film is so, like you said, quick cuts, and it's very fast and like disorientating thing, but
frantic and chaotic because that's the vibe it was.
But it wasn't. You're not watching like I can't follow this. It's just sort of like. I don't even know disorientating is the way. It's kind of almost just like cusping you on the. It's trying to get you into look how disorientating it was without actually disorientating you, because obviously that would be the worst thing to do to an audience. But it's got, for a film about such a pizzazzy character with such pizzazz with a pizzazzy director, the pizzazz, it still has incredible substance, which is again what we said the other day on the Thor one is. The film, I think that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. The thing we keep trying to pinpoint about like, what did Top Gun do that others aren't doing? What are that? I think it's substance.
Yeah, really.
If you want to simplify it, there's more to it than that. But it's literally like, it's just substance.
There's more to it than the surface level of dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is the best things do.
So much that we've watched recently, I feel like we get buried under a bit of a mountain of just missed opportunities.
Missed opportunities. Effects.
That's just a nice way of putting it.
That's us desperately once again trying to resist a Marvel brand.
It's
not a Marvel movie. It's not a fast movie. But it's like
talk too much about it.
No, don't.
But yeah, so
they're going to come for us soon.
It is refreshing to we just went to the cinema to see a film. So it wasn't in IMAX, but it would have looked great in IMAX.
That's the thing as well. We didn't. It wasn't. I forgot that.
Just a drama that was just extremely enjoyable.
Just a really good movie.
Really good movie.
Really good movie.
About
a real guy, which is kind of nice as well. To like, it's about, and it is learn. Let's say you knew a little bit anyway, but I learned about it a bit more, and it's definitely spurred an interest in it. I love the music now.
Yeah, I feel like it was just nice to just go to the cinema, and I don't want to reference it already. we just talked about it, and not have to have seen another 30 movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, it's completely... I think it's probably the first standalone one we've seen in a while, because even Maverick had Top Gun.
Yeah, one film that wasn't a sequel or a prequel.
Yeah, it was just...
That we really enjoyed.
Yeah. The next step will be a completely original film.
Yeah.
That's the only way you beat this. That has no prior basis of... So this is based on a guy...
Yes.
Other films are
based
on
a guy. Yeah.
Based on a guy that exists. All the films at the moment are either based on people, books, comic books, games. It's very rare you just get an original film now. That would be the only way to top this. A good original movie.
Yeah.
But this is it was just. What was your favourite song from it?
That is a tough one. Gonna say the one at the end, which was just because
the end is in the one where he finds out about where he's on stage.
He's on stage,
and he finds out about where he confronts the Colonel.
Hasn't he already done that? I'm talking like just before the credits.
Oh, sorry, the one where he's on the piano.
Yeah,
Fat Elvis.
Unchained Melody.
Yeah.
Because I was quite emotional at the end.
Yeah,
I was like, we've gone through this whole we've basically gone through his whole life.
This guy's life
in 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And
sort of been made to feel the beats the way he did.
The music's great, the guy's a genius. And he had people who were around him who were horrible. He had a great wife who he treated badly. Not for
he didn't abuse her.
He didn't abuse her, but
he wronged her.
Yeah, you see, I'm not going as extreme as to he beat her.
That was quite nice.
I'm more
saying, as well. Like it was just sort of like not another story about let's forgive the man that beat his wife. It was just he just wronged. He wronged in a bad way, in a really bad way. But it was like, oh, okay, at least he didn't hit her or anything.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's not good because you just don't do it, but it's just like it's nice to hear a story where the old fashioned guy didn't.
Yeah, they still had like love for each other, but they just couldn't.
It was just a relationship. It was a real relationship.
You just can't be with someone.
One of the most famous guys ever just had a real relationship.
Yeah,
that was quite nice.
And but yeah, so you'd gone through all of these things, and and then obviously it had the text overlay about like what happened to other people in this,
and it cuts to the real him as well.
Yeah, it cuts to the real him, and it's like we said, very seamless, and it's blink and you miss it kind of cutting. And I just thought it really just encapsulated like the tone of the whole movie, because it was like a mix of the Elvis that was the great person he was, like in terms of a showman and like a creator of art.
Yeah.
And obviously the latter half of the film where it's a tragedy.
Yeah.
So, and the song that they chose and the shots that they chose, and it being his last gig.
Yeah, they make it clear before. It was
so all of that all together was like, it was really great, and that just made it the best for me, the best song of the film. So
I think you can find that performance. I think it's
on YouTube. All of the stuff's on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's different though, because we just sat through 2.5 hours of a film.
No, I'm just saying. I've always wanted.
Doesn't
to
hit us.
I would like to see that last performance now. Yeah, like that. It was the fact that like how much tragedy we know he'd gone through, and he still sounded like that. He was fat. He was worn out. He was dying essentially.
He was,
and that was his voice. It was still belt out. Like he never lost that.
No.
That was good. Mine is, and it's my favourite Elvis song now as well, is Trouble. The scene with Trouble. I just love it. I love that the banana. I love those sort of songs anyway. Yeah. But it's just the way that one hits, and and his voice is just full on Elvis. I love that's one of my favourite scenes. And it's just that scene and the scene later on. He pretty much does it twice, where it's like the "you can't tell me, you can't control me" sort of thing like that. Yeah. The rebel Elvis comes back sort of thing. He's gone a bit of like he conformed for a little bit.
Yes.
And he's like fuck this, and then just like it's brilliant. And then he does it later on with the Christmas special as well.
Yeah.
But I think Trouble's the one that hit.
That was
I do really like that scene you said though.
I mean, there isn't one that's bad. So
no, it's all brilliant.
It's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. It is tough.
Yeah, great. And it really is hard to. I'd have to be quite nitpicky. I know we get that to that degree.
Yeah, but I feel like when we get nitpicky, it's from a film where it's sort of like it's been a letdown. It's let us down already and disappointed us, and now our brain starts to go, "What else is wrong with this?" Yeah, and it was just not great. Rather, our brain should be saying, "What's good about this?" And we try better at that now.
Try to steer the ship.
But
I feel like Thor: Love and Thunder got a bit of a beating.
Yeah, we got. Well, yeah, but again, we weren't beating on the film in that. We were beating on Disney.
I feel like we beat on the film, but we also extended our hands to pick it straight back up.
Yeah, exactly. But with this one, there was nothing to steer you into a negative frame of mind.
No,
so
there wasn't.
If there was anything in it bad, I wouldn't be able to notice it.
No.
I think it was like absolutely brilliant. It was just it was a story brilliantly told by a director that generally does brilliant movies. It was nice. I always like it when those directors do another good one.
Yeah, even in a serious subject movie.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
Exactly, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Which is hard.
It's a very, very heavy subject.
Especially when half of it's a tragedy.
It is, yeah, and the tragedy didn't come from necessarily from the things. Nothing like, in these things as well. A lot with this, they go back on the celebrity things. There was like, as much as there was drug abuse and alcoholism in this, the tragedy wasn't the loss of someone or I know you had the Martin Luther King things. That thing, there was that, but it wasn't like he didn't lose his child. It's usually always the one like that, or a partner, or a wife, or a brother like that, or something like that. I know his mum dies, but it's something like the tragedy in this was the guy.
Yes,
which was a nice way of telling that as well. It's very rare you get like the subject is the tragedy. It's not tragic things happen to them. No. They themselves, their story is the tragedy, and it was also very entertaining. Yeah. Which I think if you had to sum up Elvis. In retrospect now, it would be like, how would you sum up Elvis's life? Tragic, but incredibly entertaining.
Yeah.
That would be like
the wildest roller coaster you've ever been on.
Yeah, but yeah. So
let's get to some ratings.
Cool. Out of...
That is going to be a tough one, I think.
Because it's quite a serious film, and I kind of don't want to do a silly one, but we should also do a silly one because it's us.
Yeah, it's a really serious movie, so I don't think...
Is there much silly in there?
Don't think we should really be doing it out of 5 kissing multiple women on the lips in front of your wife.
Yeah.
That one was... I was just like, what's going to happen? And just nothing happened.
No, well, they very much established that... And I stand that this is what most footballers' wives sign up for.
Oh, no.
That... they just understand that it's not about love. They're out. They're going to kiss and sleep with women, but it's all right. They come back to you.
Oh,
it's a very weird modern way of thinking.
I don't know. Anyway,
so musicians maybe, but don't count when it's on the road.
Yeah,
it's so fucked up.
So fucked
just up. Don't cheat.
I was just there.
Don't be married. Just don't be married.
Yeah. I was there, and I was just like, just like a little bit like, just gave it like a little.
Yeah, like she's in the.
She's
audience.
Right there. Like,
and then he does it again. You're like.
And then she's just like, I'm just like, oh no, this is incredibly awkward. Right.
So also on that same beat, screaming fans at his first performance.
Yeah, actually,
women just losing their mind at his hip thrusting.
Out of 5 audience orgasms. Because honestly, like...
That's what it was.
Right, look.
They never said it, but that's what it was.
Right, I'm not going to... Right,
she was feeling something that she wasn't sure she should... Yeah.
The way that they put it in the film, right, is kind of cringy. Like, because... And I wasn't there, and I'm not... a female from the 1950s, but just a guy on a stage doing some good dance move, like just moving his body.
He's not even dancing, is he? Just hip thrusting.
Yeah, just hip thrusting.
In this they play off it's a tick. He doesn't even realize he's doing it.
Yeah. And that creating
lost in the music.
And that creating a flood is like a
literal flood.
I'm thinking this is a bit over the top.
Did you choose the word flood on purpose?
Yeah. Look. I was just like, that was one bit where I was like, well, they're exaggerating a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's the beginning of it as well. You're like, is this what we're in for?
I can understand the screaming fans. I honestly can.
Yeah.
I honestly can.
But it was the way they were screaming.
But the way that they framed it in this movie, it went from like screaming girls at a concert for like a hot guy. Like, to
they couldn't help it.
Yeah,
like,
to like
of them.
to them being like, I'm losing control of all my bodily functions, or the main bodily function.
But then maybe back then, with how repressed,
that's true.
Not just women more so, but everyone was.
Yeah.
And there was no desensitization the same way we have now.
Of course.
Maybe that wasn't
it was.
enough.
Yeah,
maybe that is porn.
Maybe Elvis was 50s porn.
Elvis Live was the closest thing they had to.
So let's do it out of 5 screaming orgasms. Right, I'm gonna give it a 4.
Cool.
Because I really enjoyed it. I think technically it was a great looking, great sounding, great acted movie with performances from the leads.
Yeah, I'd say leads, yeah.
That were, I reckon it will probably win him an Oscar. I know that's not
going to get it.
I know that's not like the be all and end all, but sometimes they get it right.
They get it right, yeah.
You know, Russell Crowe for Gladiator.
There's some. I just don't like the Oscars. I just don't know. Yeah. I'd rather the Oscars held no gravitas at all, but they do. I can't. Whether I like them or not, I have to accept that they do hold a certain. I think they'll get a Globe maybe as well.
So
that's everything, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, just across the board, it was.
I think it's going to do. Yeah,
I don't know.
Very, very well.
I don't know. I could maybe go a 0.5 higher.
Why not a 5?
Why not a 5? Because I don't think it was up there with like greatest of all time classic movies that I would hold in such regard.
Yeah, it's when you think of your 5s, it's not in that wheelhouse.
Actually, I'd give it a 4.5 just because I really enjoyed it and it's really good.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to find many faults.
Yeah.
It just, just in terms of it, the film itself, I just wouldn't class it as a 5.
Yeah.
So 4.5 I think is...
I agree with that because I think...
On a more personal term, I'd say 4.5.
I was going to give it a 5, but again, as talking for itself, that I kind of want to start reserving 5s more. Yeah, I think so. I like
might have to.
The same way we do, the same way we wouldn't give it a 2 unless it absolutely deserved it.
Yeah, or a 1. Cool.
Like,
or a 0.5.
Or that's the one I was allowed to give. That's the lowest I was allowed to give Eternals.
That's true.
As much as that, I think with the other end of it, we should be, 5s. We should be maybe reserving a bit more. So I agree. I'm going to say 4.5. I'm going to exactly the same. Exact same reason. There's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. Brilliant movie for what it is. It's just not quite in my 5s. I want to essentially have a small collection of 5s rather than...
You want to have like either your personal faves or just like films which were like, wow.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas this was, but I thought I was still collecting a very high 4.5 though in the scale of my 4s. This is like one of the higher ones. It's absolutely brilliant, and there is nothing wrong with it. But just because it's just personally, I'm gonna be 4.5 as well. 4.5 screaming. First performance, screaming fan orgasm.
Yep.